Hey, motherfucker! You're a bitch!
Если ты уедешь.
To say that I was excited about the release of Cyberpunk 2077 would be a drastic understatement, which is a sentiment that I'm sure a lot of other people would agree to. I mean, if you just look at the insane reaction to the Keanu Reeves release date trailer, I think that tells the full story, right?
Wake the up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Motherfuckers were pumped, motherfuckers were ecstatic. That guy is arguably the most beloved person on the planet. What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything apparently, because that game was basically a shit show upon release. I think it's safe to say that Cyberpunk would have stood to benefit from a few more months in the oven, to say the least. I, like many others, kind of distanced myself from the game after more and more videos dropped complaining about the numerous bugs, glitches, and all-around performance issues.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
Especially after embarrassing myself to no end, spending hours upon hours glazing Cyberpunk in front of my less than enthusiastic about video games than me friends.
Okay.
To be honest, I kind of thought that would be it, right? That this game would just stay on the list of irredeemable and catastrophic disappointments in the video game industry for the rest of eternity. But boy was I wrong, because CD Projekt Red and Studio Trigger would not go quietly into the night. In fact, they decided that they weren't going to go down without a fight at all, and then ended up giving us Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which is something that I would personally describe as the story of David Martinez's version of the Johnny Silverhand backstory. This collaboration would yield amazing results that I'm not even sure that they themselves expected. The bandwagon was set to get going, and while I couldn't join it until I finally got my PS5, when I did, I was quickly blown away, and all I really want to do today is talk about it, because while I can't objectively say that Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the best games ever, it's certainly up there for me, and strictly based off of my personal metric of a great game, being its pure and intense addiction, you know, the one that makes you never want to put it down, right? Cyberpunk is certainly right up there with some of the best games I've personally ever played, especially seeing as I've sunk an ungodly amount of hours into it. Even before the most recent 2.0 and Phantom Liberty update, Cyberpunk was a damn good game. I'd only bought the game about a couple months ago, but by the time the update was released, I'd already completed 2 solid and lengthy playthroughs just to do a few things differently and experience 2 of the different endings. I think it's safe to say that I'd pretty much gotten the grasp of everything, and I finally got to see what the coveted Sandevistan Samurai build was all about. Even amongst those 2 playthroughs, there was a smooth transition from making some boring-ass Master of None character to an unstoppable katana-wielding Sandevistan assassin. If you couldn't tell, that's easily my favorite piece of cyberware in the game, that and the optical camo, but that doesn't make me unique really. One look at the Cyberpunk Reddit thread and you can easily see that it's everyone else's as well, and in my opinion, I think that's just because it's that goddamn fun. First-person games don't really even do it for me like that, but when it's executed like this, you definitely have my attention. What really keeps me attached at the hip is a good narrative. And CD Projekt Red put their best foot forward, which is no surprise considering what they did with Witcher 3, which I think is a really good, solid narrative itself. Cyberpunk 2077 follows the titular main character V as they dream of becoming the best merc in Night City, just like the shonen main protagonists that they are, only to have the first big mission or gig get monumentally, incomprehensibly f***ed up when you're tasked with stealing the highly experimental Arasaka tech, the Relic.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
Leaving V with what is essentially the ghost of Johnny Silverhand, played by Keanu Reeves. And talking about Johnny, he's definitely quite the character himself. I personally like him. Really depends on how you feel. But he ends up getting stuck in V's head. The ensuing chaos that follows makes for some pretty interesting storytelling set in the world originally crafted by Mike Pondsmith, with 3 backstories to choose from that gives you unique dialogue options throughout the game and several different endings to work towards. Cyberpunk 2077 makes for some relatively varied playthroughs. It's at least enough to give you a reason to play it a few times over like I did, and not bring on the feeling of having the game be just too repetitive. However, after sinking more than 200 hours into the damn thing, it did start to get stagnant for me, and I didn't have the same fire to stay up all night and play it on my day off and run through it like I did when I first started playing, understandably. It's like a new song that you can't stop listening to. After the millionth time that you've played it on repeat, you're eventually going to want to stop listening to it and listen to something else. Well, that's too damn bad because Charles Minor, Idris Elba himself, and Phantom Liberty had something to say about that. Jesus Christ, this expansion and the accompanying 2.0 update was such a fucking breath of fresh air to Cyberpunk 2077. And while I struggled adjusting to it at first with an already established level 39V, when everything finally clicked, at times it felt like I was playing a completely different game. Just look at some of these additions. You can now deflect bullets with a katana like some fucking cyberpunk Jedi, or Zorro for those of culture who are watching this. And with general improvement to the way using blades work in the game, it now feels more like you're actually some kind of swordsman, right? Some guy who actually knows what the fuck he's doing, rather than some guy who's just waving around a sharp stick. Pause.
What do you mean by that?
Driving around Night City has been overhauled as well. You're now able to shoot weapons while driving, and there's even some cars that have weapons built into them that have been added to the game, making driving around a bit more fun. Especially now that El Capitan has missions for you where you can deliver stolen cars to him, leading to some good rewards and some entertaining enough car chases and vehicle combat. That's all been made better by an improved vehicle control as well. Driving around no longer feels like absolute fucking garbage. Now it actually feels a bit more controlled. Cars have a weight to them that was sorely missing from anything before 2.0. Each vehicle even sounds more unique as well, and I won't pretend to be some kind of expert on it, but it was pretty obvious that more attention and care was put into how cars actually work. The skill tree has been completely reworked as well, and now it actually feels like each perk you invest means something, as opposed to the more understated nature of the previous skill tree. My favorite one so far is definitely the Flash and Thunderclap, a blade attack that lets you lunge at an enemy as Cyberpunk's version of Zenitsu's Thunderclap and Flash from Demon Slayer. And I respect the hell out of CDPR for including that reference. You're even able to go up to level 60 this time instead of 50, giving you the opportunity to really flesh out your build a bit more with those extra attribute points. These are only a few of the notable additions to Cyberpunk 2077 after Update 2.0 and the Phantom Liberty expansion, and I haven't even really gotten into the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. Sometime after you've completed the questline with the Voodoo Boys, the new character, Songbird, contacts you and requests your help in the new area of the map, Dogtown, in exchange for a potential cure for V's relic problem. Once there, almost off rip, the entire questline of Phantom Liberty gets off to a captivating start as you then get to learn more about the powers that be, the fully realized characters that take part of what is been frequently described as a spy thriller, most notably of which being Solomon Reed, played by Stringer Bell. Idris Elba. After my first playthrough, I definitely agree. It does get you invested immediately, and you're tasked with making some pretty tough choices that truly impact the course of your storyline. You go from V to a rookie James Bond really, really fast. Phantom Liberty and Update 2.0 serves as the shot in the arm that Cyberpunk 2077 needed for both old fans and newcomers. Seeing as after its release, I was able to not only take in the new storyline at my own pace, but I was also able to revisit the base game with a fresh resolve after my self-inflicted burnout. Now I might just start over again just so I can experience all the new changes from the beginning of the game, and I highly suggest you check it out as soon as you can, especially before Spider-Man 2 comes out later in October and quickly becomes the only thing anybody is talking about, including myself. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.